On May 23, 1993, wax, or the discovery of television among the bees, entered the internet, projected by a cable into a wall. Inside that internet, there are no movies there. And so wax, waiting until the last frame enters the wall, then begins the first movie on the internet, to continue forever, for that is how the first movie on the internet begins, at the first frame after the last frame. A true story, and this is that movie, and in reverse. And so, we begin.
As you are aware, the internet is a DVD on a coffee cup. I could show you how that happens, how the handle of the coffee cup becomes the hole in the center of the DVD. How the interior of the coffee cup disappears into the surface of a flat disc as I spin. I am the first movie on the internet. I am inside a DVD on a coffee cup. I could show you how that happens. How the movie appears between two frames, between the front and the back of the DVD disc. I am the first frame after the last frame. I am the movie in the DVD on the coffee cup. I am wax, or the discovery of television among the bees. I am 999 years, 364 days, 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 48 seconds long. And then it was dark, until dawn.
I became a shape of light, the poem that I was. I became a shape of light, the poem that I was. I became a shape of light, the poem that I was. I became a shape of light, the poem that I was.
A small stick figure spins down through the dark time machine, looking for spirals to guide it. This spinning stick figure, fleeing through the dark, slowly drops and dissolves into a dark pentagon surrounded by connected white sections. This dying flower pulses with oscillating life poems, five-fold couplets that preach the benefits of vengeance, and the need for cheap and constant travel to the moon and other unpleasant places. As spring approaches, as in, spring is sprung, an ancient clock poem that dead children are often forced to recite for hours in the empty classrooms of the afterworld school system. The black pentagon flower blooms, becoming a whitened and virtual image of itself, made of unstable electronic lines that pulse from the point center of the flower off to the void, where they expand to light-year-wide shape.
I hid in the flower crystal on the B television. I hid in the flower crystal on the B television. I hid in the flower crystal on the B television. I hid in the flower crystal on the B television.
Collapse becomes the order of the moment, as these cane flower pentalines begin to stream towards the center, and a pentagonal darkness encroaches from the four edges of our screen. This soft-edged oscillator black is replaced by the shape edges of the beat's limits, hexagonal in this projection, though carrying that pentagon on its surface. The hexagonal crystal flower or bead now starts to expel dark and white flower petals from its center. The hexagonal TV transforms, through the use of transparency, to a sky-chopping hexagon with a neck-sliced skull stuck to one of its big flat sides. The skull has pentagonal eyes, which the pentagon might using to scan all parts of whatever type of space they are in together.
Shape followed the path that my enemies were fleeing along. They were heading forwards through time, back to Mesopotamia, which now had a different name. The X-shape followed the path that my enemies were fleeing along. They were heading forwards through time, back to Mesopotamia, which now had a different name. The X-shape followed the path that my enemies were fleeing along. They were heading forwards through time, back to Mesopotamia, which now had a different name. The X-shape followed the path that my enemies were fleeing along. They were heading forwards through time, back to Mesopotamia, which now had a different name.
The X-shape, on its planet-penetrating spin path, following the gyre on the outside of a screw, it makes its way through neutral space, a neutrino that can't be stopped. We stare down on a target view of an X or other letter, superimposed over a darkness where many little bright elements are streaming by. We are behind the gun. Actually, a night view from the space shuttle. The X appears in the middle of a hyperbolic and innocent brown eye, witness of too much and register of too little in this narrative. The eye looks downward, then up again, in an aimless scan. Satellite images mapped onto a water slide that pretends to drop them into blank depths. This outer space waterfall reminds you of your home planet. The beat has become the Earth itself, or at least a faceted map, though the triangular sides only give a crude approximation of Earth's curvature, and in addition there seems to be a certain amount of repetition on the various surfaces. This shape approaches us from the upper left.
I followed my enemies through the B television, to emerge in the air above Basra, southern Iraq, In the year 1991, I followed my enemies through the B television. To emerge in the air above Basra, southern Iraq, in the year 1991. I followed my enemies through the B television. To emerge in the air above Basra, southern Iraq, in the year 1991. I followed my enemies through the B television. To emerge in the air above Basra, southern Iraq, in the year 1991.
The Earth-mapped beat becomes larger than the screen, until only parts of facets are visible. One spins and hits us. We burst through into the center of the icosahedron, where the edge of the atmosphere is rapidly receding before the pressure of outer space and its folk. The walls of the inner TV continue to rotate until we suddenly find ourselves locked in front of a single edge, where mirroring views of the encroaching dark can be seen. We're staring through a white box floating above a road on a mountainous desert landscape, which might not be Basra. The box might be a subset of the beat triangle edge. Our deathly attention has been focused.
Now I was going to kill. That was my job. Now I was going to kill. That was my job. Now I was going to kill. That was my job. Now I was going to kill. That was my job.
We get a closer, involuntary view of the blurred moving ground, still focused for us by the inexorable white target box. Our view suddenly passes to a lighter landscape. We are using the white box to semi-intelligently searching for a particular dark shape, that must match one that we already have in our inactive imagination.
I spoke the code that changed the B television into a weapon with the image of my special enemy engraved upon it. I spoke the code that changed the B television into a weapon with the image of my special enemy engraved upon it. I spoke the code that changed the B television into a weapon with the image of my special enemy engraved upon it. I spoke the code that changed the B television into a weapon with the image of my special enemy engraved upon it.
Real landscape, made of targets found through rushing skin of the grass, road, and trees. All are thoughts that don't need to be remembered. Our center is now filled with pictures from a long rectangular green corridor. We fly over the top of this memorial marker, made for us to think of something dead that we are about to meet, or something living that we are about to kill. The side walls of this strange memorial, made from the green patterns of abstracted landscape glued to polygonal walls, which begin to collapse like a magician's top hat. The rabbit-carrying central section thickens, preparing to reveal the magic animal it is carrying. When the small flat tip, once the top of a memorial tombstone, has thickened enough to resemble a flat-screen television, we see a small tank appear there, central character in the short commercial which is just beginning to roll. The tank goes bang. The TV rotates, and we burst through.
I spun this projectile towards the one who was waiting for me. The X-shape followed to the kill. I spun this projectile towards the one who was waiting for me. The X-shape followed to the kill. I spun this projectile towards the one who was waiting for me. The X-shape followed to the kill. I spun this projectile towards the one who was waiting for me. The X-shape followed to the kill.
Inside the TV, the images are reversed, and active metamorphosis continues. The box starts to spin, projecting anti-volume by its scan. 5 spin years later, it has chosen a target and starts a shrinking descent. We're dropping with unilarming speed towards a tank glued to a green landscape. The doomed tank shoots a puff of smoke. For the second time, we find ourselves staring at the side of a doomed tank, which has revealed its bad intentions to us by puffing bullet smoke from the barrel of its cannon. Now we have to kill it as many times as possible. The third time we see the tank, 3 times. That's truth. We decide that we have the power to actually destroy this thing beneath us. This murdering machine. Or at least, it is within our very powers to actually change the channel.
Back in the darkness, at the graveyard, beyond the vengeance sign, many new souls were born. Back in the darkness, at the graveyard, beyond the vengeance sign, many new souls were born. Back in the darkness, at the graveyard, beyond the vengeance sign, many new souls were born. Back in the darkness, at the graveyard, beyond the vengeance sign, many new souls were born.
The X shape descending towards the victimless tank, spinning with the dissector's care towards the soon-to-be disassembled shape. A tank, perhaps near the white sands, exploding with light which burns into dark smoke. The space falls away at the edges of the picture. Moving through a close, parabolic space, where a tank missing a turret bursts like a firecracker pack. The ruined front end of a mystical Ford, collision fractured, with the honeycomb-shaped cooling grill visible. A burning stuntman dances like Jacob in yet another type of parabolic space. The windmill fracture that opened Jacob, back when the crystal BTV was inserted into his head, here pauses in mid-frame like a focusing grid for that omniscient monocular eye so often seen throughout this narrative. We pass through the sharp center of this pseudo-pupil. Behind the empty eye of the narrator, we find the rotating planetoid egg, a magnetic and recombinant junkyard where too many letters cluster. Looking down a highly perspectivized beat, where animated flat dead letters dance in constant flicker, each unique moment in their animations being a soul, and time simply a storage place for their discontinuous selves.
They danced on BTV. This was victory. They danced on BTV. This was victory. They danced on BTV. This was victory. They danced on BTV. This was victory.
Outside view of one of many dance TVs appearing in the Festival of Death at the end of this movie. The movement of the dancing souls balanced on it may in fact be an active natural principle which allows all the lost letters clustered in the graveyard to return to active circulation. A spinning, facet-separated TV appears and surrounds whatever was there just a moment ago. So goes dinner and the hunt here. Letter bodies appear on its exterior shell. The eaten are immediately turned into story here. The interior view of the birthing BTV. Oscillators cycle along the facets, telling you the soft edges of time. We pass in and out of the BTV. When the angle is wide, we think we're inside, and when the zoom is extended, we think it is far away. Yet it is not even certain that the thing exists, or if so, that it is separate from us. There are indefinite number of suspended, untouching, parallel layers of BTV visible here, all moving around each other with the respect that the star-holding shells enclosing Earth's proto-sun.
I went back to the planet of the future dead to celebrate. I went back to the planet of the future dead to celebrate. I went back to the planet of the future dead to celebrate. Back to the planet of the future dead to celebrate.
Separated facets, hanging in front of us, implode as a static phase beat, clumping into what appears to be a flat hexagon that, when coherent, bounces back from the void to approach our eye again. There it will stick, dust on our contacts. The accumulation of transparent minerals on the surface of your plastic eye lens will quickly change what you see, then what you know. and finally who you are. Approaching our eye, this bouncing static-faced hexagon implodes again to nothing, disappearing to be replaced by the windmill-faceted pseudopupil, the star-slit cornea that covers the eye of the narrator. The lit crescent of a missing planet, turning its visible portion towards us. Its nose was shaved off by the steady power of moonlight. A hexagon envelops the missing planet that just a moment ago was floating before us, full of promise and covered with vegetables. Of course, this hexagon becomes a pentagon, and the moment is revealed for what it was. The city planet, home to the Temple of Death and the Skull Scouts. The city's buildings are rotating like clock gears. Tick-tock, body rock, earthquake time, we all fall down. A well-built town survives most shocks.
When I entered the city, my former escorts greeted me. They'd had children, twins. When I entered the city, my former escorts greeted me. They'd had children, twins. When I entered the city, my former escorts greeted me. They'd had children, twins. When I entered the city, my former escorts greeted me. They'd had children, twins.
The fast twirling work of the city's gears opens a mirrored gate made of words, which offer only momentary entrance. That's what you get with a cheap password. A pair of skull birds flying directly towards us. They begin to mirror merge at their wingtips, a process that continues until they are a single binary bird with two stomachs and a single empty brain. The mirror birds merge, two heads with a single body. The two wings continue to drive them through dark space. Bone butterflies, beautiful now, high above the clouds and flowers. A pair of skulls connected by neck bone try to think as one, but find bone is not a good medium for abstract thought. Skulls have grown into bodies, with ribs and arms, praying for the protection of their missing lower parts. They rotate in opposite directions.
The X-shape had gone there to give birth also. The X-shape had gone there to give birth also. The X-shape had gone there to give birth also. The X-shape had gone there to give birth also.
Two X-shapes joined at birth, sprouting and retracting multiple miniature versions of themselves at each of 7 bulbous extremities. A bush made of bone babies, planted in the glass soil of a dark greenhouse. A 3x3 grid of very small, or large, X-shapes spinning in exact synchronization, perhaps showing how, when small, they naturally take on the shape of living pixels. We move closer to the texture of the living pixel grid. We're flat. It is thin. The night is long and we'll loop back to the beginning again tomorrow. So let's rest here, laying ourselves down like a rug on this picture floor, or using the grid as a blanket to cover and warm our long restless remembering dream sleep.
On the BTV, many new bodies were on display. the BTV, many new bodies were on display. On the BTV, many new bodies were on display. On the BTV, many new bodies were on display.
Two meta-XS, each made of 9 small X's, drop through the dark without parachutes, attempting to meet up with each other at a prearranged altitude. Near absolute zero, their edges find one another, and the two spontaneously join to begin construction of a more complicated shape you'll never see. Parallel tracks of stacked and synchronized X's, all separated by white vertical bands, stare at us with an unblinking hatred. As our eyes slide over this shape, we discover that it is yet another beat, facets covered with by repeating streams of lost X shapes. Don't blink. Don't look back either. A pentagonal arrangement of upper bodies, whose skulls all are oriented towards the central void point, all teeth of the skulls carrying the grin of a recently submerged swimmer accelerating the oily water towards the only nearby hole in the ice. Through deadly transparency, two central skulls disappear into missing space, leaving behind rotating ribs, lifted in inspiration by the vacuum of missing breath. A BTV explodes, covered with black except for the rotating hands and wrists that are written inside and outside of all facets, begins to suddenly explode, carrying all those broken limbs in all the opposing directions, where friends and family are waiting.
In fact, this world was twice as large as it had been before. There was twice as much time. Twice as many houses. And many more useless things also. In fact, this world was twice as large as it had been before. There was twice as much time. Twice as many houses. And many more useless things also. In fact, this world was twice as large as it had been before. There was twice as much time. Twice as many houses. And many more useless things also. In fact, this world was twice as large as it had been before. There was twice as much time. Twice as many houses. And many more useless things also.
A pair of dead body word streams bifurcate from their source at center bottom of the screen. Half an X. Space split in two where the eyes cross. Before running out of their length, the vertical word streams reappear as parallel streams, still running away from the bottom of the screen. Sad little self-replicating chains, simple machines made out of the space between words. The appearance of the end of this moving sentence motivates the upwards ascent of a similar dead-made phrase in mirror-birthed shape, which then collapses onto itself, creating paired clumpings that might be proto-graveyards for roses or elephants. Talk, talk, talk. All night the trees talk, while the thorns or tusks lie still, happy to be together. Clumpings of deadly letters disappear onto the flat surfaces of a pair of symmetric anti-clocks, who eat each other's time. There might be worlds inside these clocks, or the time and words they absorb might simply be fuel or spare parts, or just empty spaces where their last meal used to be. At about 5 to 8 or 5 past 4, the clocks disappear to be replaced by paired helixes, which move with opposite twists that might be anti-spaces, or just dental shivering. A pair of stable and fractalizing cube grids imitate each other's x-axis rotations. They seem to have nothing at their center, just like all the other boxes and cubes in this world. This nothing is thinking of something, which is someplace else, i.e. someplace in a place where places exist. Two pairs of 4 tubes, sliced pieces from the refrigerators that used to populate the blasted planet that once spun beyond Mars, rotate in opposing directions around parallel empty centers.
That was it. The end. For the last time, I entered the BTV. That was it. The end. For the last time, I entered the BTV. That was it. The end. For the last time, I entered the BTV. That was it. The end. For the last time, I entered the BTV.
Out of the lower right, two unified meta-XS swing into sight, all their perfectly behaved X's practicing for the day when they are large enough for their own personal vengeance. The confused and unifying parabolic eye, still staring, commands this world's creation through the use of invisible rays. An elevator appears from the vanishing point at the center of one of those square BTVs. The passenger box slows and hangs just below us. Press the button or not, the doors will open, letting us out of the elevator. Let's go up, up, up and away. We've been tied at the belly and now we float. A free balloon suddenly past the edge of the buildings, up where thin and empty plastic bags ride the intercity winds. The weapon box does a single spin and approaches closer, folding up the entire beveled structure so that there will be more room inside for us. Rabbit, get in the hat. The flat screen of the vague machine has grown out front again, showing this time a very fine comb bomb of single pixels, magnified for some impending action. Ping. Pong. Time to go back to the beginning.
Traveled into the weapon boxes and let my soul take on its true form. Traveled into the weapon boxes and let my soul take on its true form. Traveled into the weapon boxes and let my soul take on its true form. Traveled into the weapon boxes and let my soul take on its true form.
We enter the space that appears to be behind the flat screen of the weapon box, but which may also be a different moment in the continuing folding of this dangerous shape. We head like an anti-elevator down to a box parked at what appears to be the base of the cylinder, and then explore the trench that's around it. The individual purple pixels are huge, blurred, happy. As we slide past the lower right of the weapon box's central mound, a graveyard lump filled with many unwilling and helpless soul pixels, we are greeting by the sudden appearance of a butterfly twisted picture plane, the very same shape as the heart machine that helped lift fallen Jacob up to the pulsating place not too many years ago. This twister folds into a sphere, madly in love with us and all living things like us. The living twist soul repeats itself, within itself, in a recursive song of sequenced still images, all of which seem to us to make a movie. On reaching temporary completion, it begins to unfold again, showing the bands of the planet of television on its surface. Here time becomes space, and the fish swim deep. This black and white unfolding soul slice dissolves to a green flat shape that stretches into a long plane with a sine edge. Music of the serrated blades flying between the dark spheres, here to there, in the planet space of this molecule realm. Our eye stares force the twisting soul weathered back to butterfly shape, with hard fake wings surfaced with the colored and oscillating map of some very universe, or universal world, or inverted void. As that butterfly pulls the pin out of its back, it twists into an angry Mobius. Almost. At the last minute the glue holding the opposing ends gives way, and it turns page into a simple strip of light. The smell of the Mobius soul clump motivates the mallet descent of a Lovecraftian Gnosis face from top right, spinning on some out-of-frame oiled axis to reveal the furrow on top of its facet head. The disappearing head is mechanically followed by its necessary companion.
I am the X-shaped Siamese twins. I am the X-shaped Siamese twins. I am the X-shaped Siamese twins. I am the X-shaped Siamese twins.
One head follows another, a nodding of yes that might also mean no. No, no, no. Not a knot of unknown knowing, but a wheel of empty heads who don't know the difference between yes and no. the latest incarnation of the spinning dynamo, cousin of dynamite. A symphony of opposing hammer stairs sends dumb notes from all opposing corners of the four-fold screen. After a partial spin, the last opposing head is replaced by a four-headed X shape hanging lonely in the upper right, slowly spinning on its own X point. With the benefit of distance, you can now see that two of the heads are pointed in the direction of the spin, and two look backwards. A four-head Janus that uses its forwards as foothills. The rotating Siamese twins ease in closer to the center of the frame, where the maximum amount of electricity can be generated, or even